My name is Aaron Lopresti. I've been a comic book artist, a commercial illustrator, and a writer for over 25 years. And this is my YouTube channel.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm going nuts today. First Graybeard Studio, and now another episode of Talking Comics and Art with Aaron Lopresti. I am, of course, Aaron Lopresti. I go on these binge buying sprees and I buy stuff and it just shows up, bam, 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 bam. So I got to do videos, man. I can't open a book without sharing it with you. So today, a giant book arrived. There's a publisher called Taschen down in Southern California. They do a lot of humongo coffee table type books. If you remember, I did an opening of the Frazetta book that they did, and it was just, huge. Well, they've also done one called The History of EC Comics. I picked that up last week because they had a flash sale, 50% off. Couldn't pass that up. So basically, I got a $200 book for 99 bucks. And let's cut it open and see what's inside. Can you get a sense of the size of this thing? The question is, can I cut it open without wrecking the box? Here's the funny thing. When you create a box like a publisher does, like this, specifically for a book, and you print on the book, but the purpose of this box is to ship it in so that the book doesn't get damaged. Well, now that you've made this shipping box so cool, I almost feel like you should box the shipping box in another box to keep this box in mint condition. But, I guess that could keep going forever, and it becomes one of those little really Chinese box where you keep opening up. There's a smaller box inside and a smaller box inside. Anyway, so this one is double shrink wrapped. So they wrapped it in order to ship it, but then this box that the book is in is also shrink wrapped. So that's pretty cool. The Frazetta one, I think, only had one, was only wrapped like this, and it did get a dent in the box, which kind of depressed me. But then again, the book was in perfect shape. But it's like, if they just sent this as in a blank box, I wouldn't have cared. But since they printed on it, now it feels like it's part of the collectible book, and it's like, I don't want it damaged. So anyway, I'm going to cut this open, hopefully destroying the box or the book. Now, you guys may be saying to yourself, Aaron's so old, he read ECs when he was a kid. Not true. ECs had come and gone before I was even born. But I discovered EC Comics through my love of Bernie Wrightson, who was a big EC fan growing up. And he often talked about his influences in EC Comics. So, of course, I had to go check out what influenced my favorite artist. And that's how I became a fan of ECs. After the fact. I want to make sure that we understand after the fact. I was not there during the publication of these things. Okay, so this box opens up. And for being shipped like this is in pretty good shape. Before we open up the book, look what's on the side. Like they've got like cover recreations here. Like this right here, Shock Suspense 13. I have this book in a 7.5, just saying. I also have this book, which is great. It's a classic cover. And it's from a weird fantasy number. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we'll find out. But it's drawn by Al Williamson, inked by Frazetta. You can't go wrong with that. Here we go. Look at that baby. Wow. Now this book is shrink wrapped as well. Look at how big this freaking book is. It's huge. All right, I'm going to delicately put this box away. I gotta get back to lifting weights. Okay, so there's your giant book, right? Here's my hand. Get 2.5 hands on there. This is a big coffee table book. So we have Grant Geisman, apparently, is the author who compiled this and wrote it. The History of EC Comics from 1933 to 1956. Taschen complete cover gallery. Are you freaking kidding me? So basically going to tell me that every EC cover ever made is in this book. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. You can see why these books are so expensive. They're flipping huge. I mean, I don't know how many pages are in there, but dude, that's a lot of pages. And, you know, you sit there and go, yeah, it's worth $200, but I don't want to pay $200. Who has $200? But when they say $99 and free shipping, yeah, can't resist it at that point. So that's what I got this for. The only other Taschen book I have is the Frazetta book. But they have ones on like Marvel Comics and Spider-Man and stuff. They're this big. And they're so tempting. But you also got to have a place to put them, which I don't. But that doesn't keep me from still buying old books. Or in this case, new books about old stuff. Oh, look at this. All right. Now I could sit here and look at this for an hour, but I don't want to make an hour-long video. Oh, this is so cool. This book is copy number 2203. First printing of 5,000 copies. 5,000 copies actually is not a small print run. So this will probably be available for some time. Okay. The MC Gaines era. So you're going to have the history of EC Comics here. I mean, this is like, you know, you get the Frazetta book, and yeah, you can read all the stuff in there, but you're getting it for the art mostly. And so you're not as compelled necessarily to read everything. This is a book it's a history book. So I love the history of comics and how they got started in the golden age. Of course, I know it by heart. I did a I did a presentation at a museum once on this topic, but I always love reading this stuff. You know, who is Bill Gaines? Who is Max Gaines? Who is Bill Gaines' father? Who was one of the pioneers, of course, of publishing comics. So you've got all this stuff, and you've got got Superman in here and Detective Comics #1. Talk about a rare book. I don't even think there's a copy that exists past the VF in this book. Because I think this was 30, what was this? 37. Okay. And then, of course, famous Action Comics #1. Anyway, okay. We've got to move through this a little bit faster. So basically, you have this history of comic books in general, not just EC, right? To kind of get everybody up to speed. You get Wonder Woman cover here, and little Wonder Woman bondage up here. What does that say? Although Jewish, Gaines got himself right with Jesus. Oh my goodness. Okay. Stories from the Bible. These are different things that Gaines was involved in publishing. All right, I'm getting antsy. I want to get to the EC stuff. This is interesting here. This is a newspaper, reproduction newspaper article. It says, funny business. We introduce MC Gaines, pioneer in the comic magazine industry, which has 18 million customers. 18 million customers. Wow. The golden age of comics was indeed a gold mine. Where have all our customers gone? To video games, I guess? I don't know. All right, so we've got this really comprehensive history of comics and Max Gain's role in it. And I'm guessing down here, this is, yeah, a young Bill Gaines right there, who went later on to create EC Comics. Okay. All these. Oh, it's just incredible. Look at that. Just getting the artwork reproduced this large is really, to me, I don't know, it's exciting. The paper quality on this book, this is really heavy paper. This is really nice. They do really nice books. Screw digital, man. This is where it's at. Okay. Half the book, though. We're on page 70 already. We haven't got to the good stuff yet. But look at all these cover reproductions, all these different books. So EC Comics, of course, stands for Educational Comics, and that's where they started out. Moon Girl and the Prince. Got some character sheets up here. Look at this. Oh my gosh, Sheldon Moldoff was the artist on Moon Girl. I knew Sheldon. He is, of course, passed away at this point, but I used to do the convention circuit with him and have breakfast with he and his wife and Martin O'Dell, the creator of Green Lantern, as well. They would hang out a lot at shows. Got to know them pretty well. Actually, I have an original Hawkman drawing from Shelley. Here we go. Part 2, Bill Gaines in Charge, 1947 to 1950. Now things are changing. We get some crime books. There's still Moon Girl in there. Ooh, going steady with Beggy. Look at these headlight comics. They called that because they would, how should we say, really sort of accentuate the boobage on these women. Look at the wrinkles and how they just, the boobs are just pulling through the dress there. That's what we called, in the day, or they called headlight comics. Well, look at all these layouts. Jeez. Now we're getting into some serious murder and crime. I fight crime. Look at that. Two-faced women. That's the worst kind. Goodness. Modern love, a moon, a girl, romance, baby. So these are EC Comics. These are color guides right here. Look at that. Original color guide with all the notations on the side. That's very cool. Every girl needs a good spanking once in a while. At least that's the message they're sending to young kids. Some saucy modern love tales here. Now we're getting into some Crime Patrol. Nice. Savage strong boy. Don't mess with him. Look at old Max Gaines right there. Saying there's monsters and Mad Magazine in my future. More Westerns. Oh, that's actually a really nice cover. Looks like Graham Ingalls. How about that? Graham Ingalls, who later, of course, became known for his horror work under his pen name Ghastly. That's a really nice cover. There's more Graham Ingalls right here. So Graham Ingalls was doing Westerns. You know, in his old age, he lived in Florida, and he didn't like to talk about his horror stuff. He was kind of embarrassed by it. But this is good stuff, this Gunfighters thing. There's more Graham Ingalls, I can tell by your face. That's amazing. Look at that. Some really nice stuff here. And Al Feldstein over here. They used to call him Stiff Figures Feldstein. Look at that. I craved excitement. We all crave excitement. 4 is for romance. Come on, let's get to the horror stuff. Okay, so now here we go. Now things, here we go. Crime Patrol had a lot of crime comics and Western comics. Things are starting to get a little saucy here. Part 3, the new trend. It says right here. That's Wally Wood, by the way, in case you're wondering. Part 3, the new trend, 1950 to 1954. This is where we got in trouble. Zombie coming out of the well. So romance turns into death romance. Crypt of Terror, Vault of Horror. Oh, look at that. Groovy Graham Ingalls. How about that? Now see? Now he's signing it. Oh, can you see that? Ghastly. That was Graham Ingalls, who was doing those Westerns just a few pages earlier. Haunt of Fear. It's Johnny Craig. Oh, you can't see, this is super small, but look at that splash page right there. You can't see it all that great, but it's The Old Witch by Graham Ingalls. Beauty. Oops. I got to have some big ones in here someplace. Let's keep rolling. Oh, there's some more Graham Ingalls. Doctor of Horror. Rats have sharp teeth. I guess that's kind of, that's a title that sort of kind of tells it like it is, right? There you go. There's Matt. There's Bill Gaines and who's the dude with him? Oh, it's Feldstein. Huh, right there. A young suave guy with all that hair. So you got some Crypt of Terror pages. That looks like Jack Davis, The Living Mummy. How about that? Sorry, this book is so big, it's hard to get like decent shot of everything. We're not even halfway through this book at this point. Look at this. So you got all these cover reproductions. Black and white work in here. What else we got in here? I have to go through this a little bit. Some Frontline Combat. How about that cover there? Who's that? Is that Kurtzman? Yep. Oh, look at that. Jeez. Is that Jack Davis? Kurtzman, inked by Wally Wood. Are you kidding me? Look at that panel. Look at that panel, right? That black and white panel. Marie Severin colored a lot of this stuff too. The coloring on this is really, really nice. A little revenge now. Crime suspense. What else we got in here? Oh my goodness. God, this book is awesome. Okay, here we go. God, there's some more. You'll be jarred by the starting climax of this shocking narrative. Hate. Yeah, it's let's talk about Jewish oppression. I guess. And there's another Graham Ingalls, Haunt of Fear. This is a classic cover right here by Wally Wood. Shock Suspense Stories 13, or pardon me, 6. Look at this dude being hung right here. Jolting Tales of Tension. I mean, geez, can you imagine a kid bringing that home to their mom in the 50s? You wondered why there was a Senate investigation on this stuff, but famous electrocution cover. The guy's face is melting off as he's getting electrocuted. Good stuff. George Evans was really good. If you guys aren't familiar with George Evans's work, again, I know it's hard, but this is George Evans' page right here. He was really good. More shock suspense. Like, oh, look Look at that, The Witch's Cauldron. Vault of Horror. Weird. Hey, there it is. I've got this book. I mean, I've got the book and I've got the comic book. Right there. Oh, there's some more Wally Wood. Look at that machinery in there that Wood did. It's crazy stuff. Oh, that's a classic cover right there. Guy in the back of the taxi cab. Ray Bradbury adaptation. There's some more Ingalls. Little dinosaur action. Robin Hood. And this is from Mad Magazine. That is Wally Wood. I'm sorry, John Severin. Oh, I love John Severin. Look at all this stuff. Mad Magazine covers. Panic, which was also another humor magazine they did. Didn't last quite as long. Look at that classic right there, dude. There was when Gaines was called before the Senate committee on this. One of the senators asked him. He said, how, do you not find this? I think offensive. I'm not exactly sure what the word terminology they use, but I think offensive. And Gaines replied, no, if I'd shown the blood dripping off of her severed neck, that would be offensive. So, like, can you imagine that on a rack and you got like 10-year-old kids flipping going? I mean, I would have bought that. My mom would have had a cow, but I would have bought it. We got Mad Magazine again. Super Duper Man. That's Wally Wood. Classic. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to read this. I had this issue right here, number 4. I had this. Sold it, but I had it. Kind of a VG, but got it just because I wanted to actually have one, and then I don't know. Such a dummy. I don't know why I sold stuff that I sold. This is also classic right here. This Evil Eye cover, Jack Davis, baseball guy catching a fly ball. So we got a lot of stuff in here on Mad Magazine. That's cool. Oh, look at this. Al Williamson's first 2 jobs at EC, The Thing and the Glades, from Tales of the Crypt, number 31, and then Weird Science Fantasy right here. This is Williamson. And Williamson was very, very young at that time. His 20s or something. Crazy. Cover, Weird Fantasy 15 with a Williamson cover. Tales from the Fridge. I don't know what's going on there. Those are Wally Wood stuff. It's a nice Frazetta cover. This is a paperback book. I actually have that. Crazy. My dog just walked in. So we got more traditional Mad Magazine. Here's some older stuff. Again, a lot of Wally Wood stuff. Just tremendous work. George Evans. You know who else did? Reed Crandall did some of this stuff. Just tremendous work. They had the best artists. The stuff is great. I mean, it's so expensive, and that's the problem, but there's reprints of a ton of this stuff out there, and they're worth getting and reading. A lot of the stories were great. The artwork was just top-notch. Look at that. That's Wally Wood. This is all wood. Look at that My World. Look at that dinosaur, that little egg-headed dinosaur right there. Incredible. There's some paintings. That's a Graham Ingalls painting, 1954. That's Johnny Craig painting. These guys were, oh gosh, isn't that a classic right there? Vault of Horror. Here, honey, here, Merry Christmas. Here's your coffin. I'm going to lop your head off. Oh my gosh. The amount of quality work in this book is stunning. Stunning. These black and white magazines they did had some really nice painted covers. I actually have that Shock Illustrated right there. The poor dead girl on the bed there. Things didn't go well for her. That's a Shock Illustrated number 2. That was another way they could kind of get around the comics code, right? Was doing magazines. Valor. These are some of the books that didn't do well. Tales of Terror, though, look at that. You got all three witches in there. Crypt Keeper, Vault Keeper, and the Old Witch. Piracy, another book that didn't do that well, but had great Reed Crandall art in it. More Mad Magazine covers, shock, suspense, Two-Fisted Tales, weird science, weird fantasy. Haunt of Fear, I used to have that book. There's a great Reed Crandall story in it. This cannibal lived out in the swamp, and all the bones were collecting it. He was like, you'd eat people and then dump their bones into the swamp in this little trapdoor he had in his cabin, but the bones came back to get a little revenge on him. Oh, so you've got all the Tales from the Crypt. Look at crime. This is the cover gallery they promised us. How about that? There's, oh my gosh, there's another Graham Ingalls painting. There's another Graham Ingalls painting. There's another Graham Ingalls painting, The Old Witch. Oh, wow. Well, guys, that gives you a pretty darn good idea of what is in this crazy book and how EC changed the comic landscape way back in the 1950s and lasted for decades. The bringing in of the comics code and cleaning up comics for kids. Of course, those days are gone now, but boy, what a great piece of history. What a great piece of illustrated history. I can't, having not read a word in here yet, but just looking at the artwork, can't recommend this baby enough. Keep your eye on Taschen's website when they have those sales, because that's when you can get a great deal on a really expensive big book like this one. Hey, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. As usual, this has been Talking Comics and Art with Aaron Lopresti. Please hit the like and subscribe if you have not done so already. I do openings like this, box openings like this all the time of old comics, some books I pick up, sometimes successes, sometimes disappointments. Also, you can catch other programming right here on this channel, Aaron Live Sunday at 4 o'clock, where we talk about comics, art, film, music, just all sorts of things, Bigfoot, cryptid videos. And Wednesdays, of course, is the best draw stream on the internet. Graybeard Studio starts at 2 o'clock Pacific time right here on this channel. I also have a campaign for a graphic novel currently running on Indiegogo called Kit Carter Planet Doom. And actually, it sort of harkens back to this sort of EC 50s sci-fi genre with quite a bit of humor attached to it, but might be something you'll enjoy. Please check it out by following the link in the description of this video. Again, thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next time right here on Talking Comics and Art with Aaron Lopresti.